What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. So happy, grateful to be over here. It is a kind and humble morning over there. Thanks, Greg, for setting the mood. Thanks for setting our minds right. Listen, everyone, I do apologize for all the times that I do forget to tell you or ask you to please smash the like button. It does enormously help support the channel. I know it only takes me 2 seconds. I will try to be more mindful of that. But please, if you're here and happy to be so, smash that like button. Let's get going this morning. We got a lot to talk about here this morning. The most important thing, let's look at the calendar first. We all know that we have the FOMC meeting minutes tomorrow. and non-farm payrolls on Friday. But today we have the Georgia runoff election, right? You could see that the odds of a blue sweep or whether or not we go Democrat or Republican is more or less close to 50-50, which means that it could go either way. The market does want to see this flip red. The market wants to see a little bit of checks and balances. If we get a blue sweep over here, and by the way, we might get late results, right? That's been kind of a trend that's happening. We might get late results. We might not get them right away. This is what the market's focused on this morning. This is why we're seeing the markets in a defensive posture. I wouldn't say this is negative at all. We're going to look right here at the indexes right now. It is not negative, but it is definitely defensive. And that's because the markets have this uncertainty ahead of them, right? And it could go either which way. The markets want to get that out of the way before the markets decide how they're going to react next. Instead of us trying to figure out how the markets are going to react to this or that, it's better for us to understand what is this or that, who wins Georgia, and how then the markets react. There is less of a bit of a risk tomorrow, right? We all know that tomorrow the electoral votes are then confirmed by the lawmakers. Is that a risk? Not to me, it's not. Is it something that you should be aware of in case it becomes one? Of course. Always have that situational awareness. By the way, Mark, if you're not getting the YouTube notifications, we can't really rely on YouTube. In the description below is a Telegram link. I send out this link for the live stream, as well as the other updates as they are uploaded, as we go live. And if you want to be alerted, go with us. Don't trust Google. All right, S&P 500, you can see over here that, look what happened. Yesterday we were tracking as we were coming back into this area of local support. We bursted through it, right? We never came back up, never held, came in for that resumption upwards, came back into the heart of the channel over here, and that's where we are right now. We're dead center between the lower support and upper resistance over here. We're just in no man's land. We're waiting to see what happens. Again, this is not negative price action over here. This is a little bit of cautious defensive price action, waiting for that unknown to be known, right? There you go, Zen. What about on the Nasdaq? Let's take a look around. Let's just see. This doesn't. Okay. Above this support over here, obviously, there's no and across all indexes, I already looked at them. There's no negativity happen over here. There's been no worrisome breakdowns or anything like that. But I did notice over here you had this breakdown. And then again, along this trend line over here, we had a retest into it and a resumption off. Over in this area, just let me highlight it. This is the support. This is if we get a chance to come down over here, you really want to watch. If it holds, if it does hold at any point and resume off, in my opinion, that's a trade worth taking. The risk to reward is there. That's worth testing your feet. And I like this bit of a pullback we're seeing here right now because it's not healthy when markets keep climbing straight up, as we saw on Bitcoin these last few days throughout the weekend. So this little bit of pullback also on Bitcoin is kind of nice. On the upside, I would be waiting for that pullback into support to be looking to go long. I would stay away from all of this area right now, just until we get further clarity. So what else? What about on the Dow? I just want to take a quick look over here. Again, we have not seen any type of negative breakdowns over here. Still very bullish, holding our last big supports across the board. But this is not something that I want to spend any more time on. There's nothing really going on over there. Same thing on the Russell. Russell's similar to the Nasdaq, right? If you get that pullback into this area over here, that might be a place where you might want to target it. I think the Nasdaq, the Russell probably look the most attractive to me, but the S&P 500 looks super fine over here. And as long as we hold this area of support, it's super fine. If we lose that area and come into this area, then we'd be waiting for a bigger pullback into that area of 35,046. That's a pretty decent size pullback that gets going over here, a 6% pullback. 9%, right? That takes us right back into the bigger. Any of those things would be really healthy for the markets. All right, let's see what happens. Just be on your toes, right? You probably, as the markets right now have entered this defensive nature, you should probably also be the same, which means that you should be coming from a position of strength, which means completely on the sidelines right now on the indexes, waiting for this this, I don't really want, I guess it's a risk event. This event, how about we just call it an event? Get out of the way. All right, what else we got going on over here? Let's take a look at the dollar this morning. The dollar continues to be under a little bit pressure, trading just unchanged. And that is obviously the trend that I do expect to continue. If at any times we start seeing a breakout to the upside of the dollar, we'll be there to track it. Right now, we're looking for continued dollar weakness. Now, could tomorrow's events potentially get out of hand and cause some type of dollar strength? Yeah, potentially. How long will that be lasting? That's another story, right? It would be more noise to me, not signal. Again, I do point up, right? It's not the first time this is happening. Actually, you know, in the past 4 elections, it's happened 3 times. And it's from the other side of the aisle. So this is kind of the norm. Don't read into it more than it is unless it becomes something more than it is. Oil, by the way, look, I noticed over here. This is when I told you all on the live stream, listen, you don't need to get cute, right? This is where I was targeting the 49.50 area. This would have been the exit. You didn't see we knocked it out though, right? And right now we're just consolidating above that resistance. That's all super healthy. It's really interesting to see, right? UK back on lockdown. Demand for oil continues to be down, and oil continues to drift up. You all know my understanding of that is that QE is just simply asset inflationary. Oil is a commodity. The money's got to go somewhere. It's going over here into oil. I don't think that this is the top over here, 49.56. This was what we were targeting. You could see that we're consolidating above over here. Get above this. That offers another opportunity and targeting up higher. The next level over here I have is at 54.50. So right now, you should be neutral, waiting to see if you clear above 49.50 to reestablish new positions, or for a bigger pullback. Right now, that's targeting 44.90 area. Gold has kind of taken off after breaking outside of that bull flag. Gold has really not given an entry at all since taking off outside of that bull flag, at least the conquering the markets entry. But here's the thing about conquering the markets. One of the edges, one of the assets we have is that patience. We're not chasing, we're not FOMOing. Why? Because the market's always going to be there and there's always opportunity. And this trade is just getting started here after breaking out. Now, technically, also resuming that bullish posture, that bullish nature it has. We all know and have maintained fundamentally. It is maintained in that bullish bull market over here fundamentally. And now the technicals have lined up, breaking outside of this consolidation bull flag here channel to the upside. It has not given an entry yet that I see whatsoever or anything close to it, which means that you just continue to wait and stalk. Some comments in the, I saw overnight, like, I guess they're new viewers wondering, hey, when are you going to tell me to buy silver? Well, never. I'm never going to tell you to buy or sell anything ever. And if you're looking for me or anyone else to tell you when to buy or sell something, you don't do it. Like, it's never going to work out for you ever. What I'm here to do is provide a lot of value, all the value that I can possibly share with you from my 20 years experience in the markets, right? That's what I'm here to do. Am I here to provide clarity? Absolutely. What I'm doing here is essential for my own work over here. It gets me in step, in tune, in the flow of the market. It helps me stay on the right side of the trade. I share that with you, and I know that it does a great job in doing that as well. But I'm not here to tell you when to buy and sell. But every single person that is a regular viewer of this room, as part of this community, knows that it was $26 that I've been watching for a long time over here. When we popped up above it, I was like, wait, don't test it, right? This over here was the first opportunity that we had to pull back into it over here. Why gold has not offered an entry, silver has. Listen, don't look for something in one day, right? If you don't understand what's going on, you have to give yourself a little bit of time to get acquainted with what's going on. And really quickly, it'll start all becoming really clear to you. And you know what? There's one thing for sure, like, this room just lifts everyone up, right? We've seen it's been a great asset to a lot of people. I hope it becomes that for you as well if you are new. What else? And if you are new, do go ahead and subscribe to this channel. Again, you could get on the Telegram list in the description below, and you could be alerted when we do go live. What is happening over here is absolutely special, and I would love for you to be a part of that. Bitcoin, let's take a look what's going on here this morning. You can see this trend line over here. This is what's in play. I just want you to see, again, for all those who are new, what that trend line is. And just this will take me not more than a second to do. So just let me zoom out really quick. And you can see this was my prime trend line over here. I then cloned it and added these levels over here, which were that, by the way, these were set up. These were set up months before we came in over to these levels. I think when I started adding these levels, a lot of people thought I was crazy, but we've all seen how well they've come into play. Right over here, this one over here, this is the last one that I'm tracking over here. Now, some of you went ahead, one of you specifically went ahead and shared with me further lines that you could put off of these, this area over here, and then going back to the previous cycle over here. And they come into play in the future. I'm not tracking that. I'm tracking this over here right now. And now after above this, I'm kind of going freestyle, right? I'm going freestyle. I'm letting the market show me what it's doing. All of these lines have served their purpose for me. But here's what I want you to see what is being shown right now. It's this trend line right over here. It's this trend line over here. It's this clone trend line that I put off this top over here. And right there where my mouse is, this is real time over here. The one below it, by the way, is where when we had that 20% spike down, which held, right? Magic. But by the way, these lines had not been moved or touched for months, but magic, right? But now you can see this is super healthy. Yesterday I said, whoa, let's wait for some further consolidation before we look for the next move on Bitcoin. And the more consolidation we've had, that's better. We've since had 24 hours of consolidation and it's holding this trend line. That's all good. I feel much better about this right now. I was looking for a little bit, probably more of price discovery to the downside. That never occurred. So far that gives me a signal that this is quite bullish, what's going on over here, but by no means out of the woods yet, right? By no means out of the woods yet. Look, all right, what I'm trying to say is I'm not much of a believer here. I'm completely neutral about what could happen next. There's not much else I could say over there. You all know that generally I don't say that. It's very rare that I'm like, listen, I'm neutral and I don't know what happens next. Here's one of those instances where I'm like, it's neutral and I have no idea what happens next. So that's it. You remember the last one that I said that was all the way back over here. That was right in this area over here after we broke out to the bull market. And we were right over there. I put a blue blocks over there. And I was like, look, it's 50-50. I don't know which way we're going to break out from it. I'm over here again right now. We're just consolidating. I do have to make the observation that it's healthy, that we're consolidating above that trend line over here. And as long as that holds, obviously, that's super bullish. But we'll see what happens. I do also notice over here that we are seeing a little play in alts. I saw Chainlink is up pretty nice. Cardano is up pretty nice this morning. DOT is up. And to me, that's also a healthy sign in the markets over here that we're seeing that dance occur between Bitcoin and alts. Ethereum is also under a little bit of pressure. Let's take a look at that. Could the overpopularity be bad? So there is one real thing going on right over here right now, by the way, with Bitcoin. And that is there is a real, let's call it, everyone knows back in March of 2020, we saw a dollar liquidity crisis. There was actually a shortage of dollars in the system. We are seeing the adverse happening over here. We're seeing a Bitcoin supply shortage. You're seeing Bitcoin being removed from exchanges, and you're seeing a bunch of institutions who now understand that this is the trade, but they're not involved in it. What does that create? That creates a supply shock, which the halving is. The whole reason for the 4-year cycle is the halving of the miners' rewards every 4 years, right? But now you have something, and that's called like serious increased demand for something that is scarce and limited in supply. It's real. We're seeing it unfold. And again, we always talked about above 20,000. That's when institutions need to take note. But the move from 20,000 to 30,000 happened in a heartbeat. That didn't give them time to prepare. Above 50,000, I think the FOMO really begins, but it could really be above 100,000. And we all talked about the models could break to the upside. Listen, we're just going to take it as it comes. The other thing that I wanted to talk about before moving forward to everything else so that we could put Bitcoin behind us, And that is, listen, there are a lot of people who did not, get invested into Bitcoin and are still not invested into Bitcoin and or fully into Bitcoin as Bitcoin's trading at 30,000, and they think that it's too expensive and they miss the opportunity. That is absolutely not the case. In my opinion, Bitcoin is still really cheap. I think it's going to be another 3 months or so before we're actually looking at what the low of the coming bear market would be. Anything under that is uber cheap. And nevertheless, even if Bitcoin was trading right now at $70,000, right, and there still was a pretty solid, convincing argument to make that at a minimum, there was still a 100% gain to be had in a matter of months, I cannot think of a better investment personally. I would be using these next 3 months to be accumulating Bitcoin, whether you're dollar cost averaging, whether you're just buying at market whenever you have the opportunity. But more importantly, and the most importantly, the only reason that you're not fully invested into Bitcoin and you're interested now is because you see price at 30,000. But the reason that you're not invested into Bitcoin is because, and this is not a problem, it's just because you don't understand it yet. There's a really solid solution to that. It's to spend all the free time you have researching, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching videos. The only way that you're going to understand the trade is if you truly understand the trade for yourself. Anyone that I know that is not invested into Bitcoin is not only because they don't understand it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are still way early. Do take the time right now to just increase that knowledge before making that trade. Bitcoin is cheap right now, in my opinion. What do I know? No, what do I've been, again, also consult those when you make your decisions who have a history of being correct. Like, do that. Don't go to like you see like market and analysts who have no idea about Bitcoin, and now all of a sudden they're like tracking and talking about Bitcoin. Really, you want to listen to them? I don't think so. Anyway, that's the rant for the day. The Investors Podcast, absolutely. Jesse, their first episode on Bitcoin, when they just started their new Wednesday updates, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's a must listen to start with and a great place for anyone to start with, right? This is a great comment. And before we move on, just let me address this. And then Bitcoin is behind us. I want to get into Ethereum and everything else. But so the question is, why would you invest in an asset that costs $30,000? And I'm sure everyone's aware that you could just buy a fraction of a Bitcoin, right? You could buy $100 of a Bitcoin, but that is not tangible. I don't really understand what you mean by it's not tangible, right? Are the dollars I hold in my bank account tangible? No, obviously not, right? You exchange hard-earned money for something that is not. So listen, South Style, this is great. Look, there's nothing wrong with your views here. It's just that you need to sharpen them. Michael Saylor is a great place for you to start on Real Vision's podcast. South Style, search Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, Real Vision, because he talks about why holding those dollars, your hard-earned dollars, is absolutely reckless. And until you understand money and the monetary system and why holding those dollars is reckless because they're being devalued, you won't understand Bitcoin. So that's all. Just we'd have to work on increasing our knowledge. That's it, right? All right, what else are we looking at over here? Let's look at Ethereum really quick. My charts are really not updated after Ethereum blew out past my last 1817 resistance over here. Let me give you a bigger picture view of what that looks like really quick. And I've been saying since Ethereum was down over here, once we got over here, I really don't know what happens next, right? Does anyone remember when we were all the way back in August this summer and I put out my resistance lines and I talked about once we get above 620, 817 comes really quick. Do you all remember that? Because that, again, a history, right? But I said once we get over here, I really have no idea what happens next. And the reason for that is because Ethereum is highly speculative, right? Unlike Bitcoin, which is proven technology, Ethereum is highly speculative technology. Now, that's the reason Ethereum in this current phase is outperforming Bitcoin in returns because of the highly speculative nature, people are speculating right now. I think that's going to continue. When I said I had no idea what's going to happen over here, right? Now I'm paying attention to what's going on in the markets and, I still have no idea what's going to happen. I still think the best exit on Ethereum and any other altcoin is on the Bitcoin playlist on the video specifically I made for that. I'm very certain about that. But it seems to me that speculation for this alt season is just beginning. And right now, as people are seeing those alts come to life, it's really going to get going over here. I don't really have any TA to share right now when it comes to the price of Ethereum, and I won't until we, until we consolidate a little bit and give myself a little bit of further clarity. So that's the only clarity I could bring to you today is I don't know right now. And again, I have, let's say, the confidence. I have I know who I am. I could be very comfortable with saying, listen, I don't know right now. How do you like them apples? All right. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, let's check it out over here. We're still right over here consolidating above this resistance over there. This is something that we said once we break out above this trend line over here, this is a place to really look at getting long Ethereum, Bitcoin. And right now over here, as I zoom in, right? Let me zoom in, come back over here to real time. I think the trade right now is waiting to get above this resistance. Above that resistance, that opens the opportunity for someone to get long on this trade with a much higher probability entry. That's something you should be tracking. And or if we pull back either to the support over here or this trend line over there. All right. Whoop. Better stack food. Thank you, Blue. I do appreciate that. All right, let's go. Let's keep going over here. Let me move over to FX a little bit. Before we do that, I got to check in what's going on over here. I saw, who did I see? Kips, I thought of you last night. It was someone, guys, forgive my pronunciation. It's the legend. We all know. This guy, by the way, in 2013, owned 1% of Bitcoin supply. He owned 1% of the supply of Bitcoin. Had he held on to that, and again, the only reason he didn't is he really didn't understand Bitcoin back then. Do you blame him? No, absolutely not. Who did, right? He's the legend, the one who's going to buy the Hamptons once Bitcoin reaches $150,000. He's going to open that up and make that a summer camp for kids, bunch of farming area. Could someone type the name? I can't pronounce it. He's an absolute legend. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm sure of it. Kamith, right? Either which way. Kamith. Again, just forgive my pronunciation. Someone help me with the phonics of that, but I couldn't. There we go. Right? So anyway, he was talking about yesterday in a tweet the fact that California by, I think he said 2035. I thought it was 2030. 2035 will only allow electric vehicles. He mentioned another state that was also getting in tune with that, and he says this is going to be a trend. He was looking at, he named lithium, he named nickel, and a few other industrial metals that make up the cobalt. Again, forgive my pronunciations. Cobalt. Anyway, I thought of Kips right away, and the trade that Kips has been. Kips is all over all the commodities, by the way, and has been pointing them out ruthlessly to us since the summer, right? At least since the summer. And the nickel one was the one late I got on board with, explaining once the U.S. government went ahead and bought that Brazilian nickel mine. This is a trend that I think is going to keep going. I think 2021, we're going to see an explosion in commodities over here as we're getting ready to break out here above that trend line over there. Thanks for everything. Thanks for everything you add every day, as well as everyone. I definitely am grateful to you. Thank you for that. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that very much. All right, what else we got? I know it's true. Look, it's not just him. A lot of people following what's going on in here, Kips. They're looking out for Kips's wisdom all day long. But look, you said yesterday, let me go back. Let me get back into that flow. We said yesterday, right below this resistance over here and below this support over here, we're kind of in no man's land right now. I said I missed this, right? Because we started tracking this after that big move up. We don't ever FOMO, right? Right now is the time to continue being neutral, but this is uber bullish. Uber bullish. I'm talking about from a swing trader, right? Copper continues to ride over here. If Georgia does go blue, why the indexes might like that, I think that copper and other industrial metals are going to absolutely eat it up and love it, because at that point we might be talking about enormous infrastructure spending, right? So watch out for that. All right. What else are we looking at over here? Let me go to the green list over here. Let's check in what's going on in FX overnight. Let me talk about a few things over here. We'll start with the pound US dollar. We're going to do all this on the 8-hour, right? I drew that local support over here. You could see that we traded below it, right? A move into it. Did that give a signal for anyone? No, because you weren't trading below, right, that support over there, right? Where are you now? You're kind of still in no man's land, right? A move back into this support over here. A move back into this trend line. That's a place to attack or above here, but there's nothing going on right now with the pound US dollar. The DXY is kind of doing much of the same, right? What about the pound Japanese yen? That also didn't hold that area of local support. I was hoping it would. Not only that, it came into the support and then broke down below it. It's testing this as resistance right now. That's not too positive right now. I saw the Japanese yen across the board, right? Mildly bid this morning. That's not anything to read into. That might be because of, again, the market is aware of a risk event, right? We're seeing the Japanese yen a little bit bid today. I think that on the sidelines is probably the way to go over there when it comes to that. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Victoria is saying, I thought a blue sleep would be favorable for equities, at least in the short term. I don't know about that, and I don't know. Let's let the market tell us. I've always said I don't think so, because if we go full blue, the problem is that opens up the door for what? Some type of, anyway. I don't want to talk politics. Let's see what the market does. We'll get into it. If we need to talk about it, we'll talk about it. Right? I just want to focus in on the charts right now. Yesterday was my first session back from vacation. This is only my second. I really need to get warmed up over here. I really need to I have no idea, by the way, what 2021 is going to bring. I had no idea what 2020 was going to bring. I remember in January of 2020 sitting down with all of you and saying, listen, the volatility in currencies for a few years now has been muted. And I'm seeing since December, November, like an increase in volatility. I think we're going to see an increase in volatility. I had no idea what was going to unfold in 2020 did. I think if I tried to limit myself, I mean trying to assume what was going to happen like that I would have not been able to be so flexible in being able to be there there were so many phenomenal trades that took place last year that we were a part of. It was absolutely ridiculous. This is a clean slate right now. I have no idea what happens in 2021. I just want to make sure I'm on the top of my game so that whatever happens, I'm prepared. All right. Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Let's check it out over here. All right. So we broke down out of that little bit of a bull flag over there. Where my mouse is, that little bit of local, again, this was resistance, flipped to support, held. And now we're coming back up. A break of this line over here, that would be something I'm interested in. I'm going to go ahead and actually set an alert like this, right? A breakout above there. That's something that I would be interested in. So let me just boom, boom. All right. Canadian dollar, Japanese. And I want to unflag these because this is not even interesting right now. This is not even interesting right now. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. A little bit of a negative posture over here, right? First of all, it was rejected over here, right? So just let me take my mouse over to the left. What do you guys see when I do that? You see this little bit of support, that little resistance. So that's a line the market is focused on. I don't think this one is wrong, right? That little bit, this should be resistance because it's focused on that top over there, and was that support. I just think I need another one. So let me go ahead and do that over here. Let me clone this line and put this down over here. And switch these over to resistance. All right. So what do I think about the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen right now? I'm noticing the Japanese yen is slightly bid this morning. Canadian dollar, which has been strong, is just unchanged, slightly positive. And you can see that we came down into that support over there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, which is why I'm making observations. The best thing to do is talk yourself through it as I do. And I'm showing you right now. And then all of that led me to say Well, I don't see an edge whatsoever. I'm kind of in no man's land right now. I'm not interested. Do I want to buy this support over here? Not into that resistance. And it's not only that resistance and that resistance. I personally would prefer getting back above here before looking at the long slide. We're down over here. I don't see anything right now. All right. By the way, no clarity is very much clarity. This looks pretty hot over here. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty positive over here. You see the New Zealand dollar holding that area of local support over here. But, you know, there's nothing that I want to do or play with it. That's for sure. So I'm making just a mental observation right now that the New Zealand dollar in this environment remains strong, as does the Australian dollar. But there's nothing for me to do or see over here right now, okay? Did you see the yen now has a 2% increased currency capitalization versus other majors? It went to 6% from 4%. Gold is crashing, right? Markets are always crashing. Euro, Australian dollar. This gave, I didn't take it last night. I was traveling yesterday because of my Lyme. It was really all I could do. It was a tough situation last night. But anyway, I was not looking to take any trades last night. This over here into the resistance, resuming down off there. It's pretty clean playing out right now. Not much else to say or do though for me right now. So this is not really what I expected to be unfolding. This is what unfolding. This continues to consolidate over here. I have it green only because if we break above here, I think it's something that I want to get involved with. New Zealand dollar and Australian dollar continue to be where the strength lies over here. But nothing for me to do or attack with. How about that? All right. Yeah, let's take a look at the euro. Let's take a look at the rest now. I just wanted to check out what I had greenly marked before. It was pointed out to me, Dave, yesterday, a big trend line on the euro Japanese yen. I didn't get a chance to draw it in, Dave. I'm going to draw that in today. Take a look at your notes and see what you're talking about. So I'll have that ready for everyone tomorrow. But this all looks healthy, right? It's still maintaining above this area of support over here. It all looks healthy, but I think this is what has me the most backed off over here. The most like I prefer to be on the sidelines. You know what? I prefer to wait for this to get out of the way over here, and everything across the markets is kind of giving me that similar confirmation that there's not something that I want to be involved in right now. But nevertheless, let's take a look. Australian dollar, US dollar. Let me come back to the DXY really quick as I get going on over here. Continues under pressure right now. Again, my worry, my concern is if anything, again, instead of trying to figure out if Georgia goes red, how the markets react, if Georgia goes blue, how the market reacts, I want to see if Georgia goes red or blue, or if we don't get a decision, and or if all of a sudden we're talking about any type of fraud taking place. Whatever the market starts focusing in on, I want to know, and I want to know how the market's reacting. I could potentially see the dollar going bid here for a short time. So I'm aware of that. That's something that's kind of at the forefront of my mind, right? All right. Boom, 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 boom. You know what? This calls for something very special right now. I need to take a sip over here of my green matcha tea. Get going back into this over here. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Australian dollar, US dollar. Okay. What do you all see? Right? I don't see much. I don't see much of anything that Jordan could act off of. Right over here, it's still trading out over here towards 12-month and or higher highs over here. Let me come back and just get any type of indication of that. Last time we were at 2-year highs, almost 2-year highs, right? Nothing for me to say or do. All right. Let me take a look at some other pairs over here. I drink matcha tea, Lucas. Absolutely love it. Ooh. All right. I need to do some trend line work on silver. Absolutely, Anthony. I'll tighten up my charts. No question about it. All right. Let's take a look over here, though. Right. So the last thing we're focusing off of here was this test. 26 was the line in the sand. Right? The last thing we were looking at was that retest and finally resumption off of 26. What's next on silver? Well, we have some resistance to work through over here. right now, actually where we're at, right? My eyes went to first in this area over here. I then see that's a big line over here. And then again, it's touched and touched again over here. And then that's where we are in real time. So this is a big area that we're looking at over here at 2750. When I say big area, I mean it's just our next bit of resistance. I don't think it's something that's going to ultimately hold over here. I think that we're targeting the 2020 high, and then really silver is going to get going. So anyway, consolidating below resistance over there. The next opportunity, if you're not in the silver trade and would like get into it, and again, I reiterate, I think in 2021, Bitcoin and crypto aside, silver will probably be the best performing asset. I believe that, right? So is it possible that silver has the potential to make new all-time highs in 2021? I surely think it is, right? Does that mean go out and buy it because Jordan thinks that silver has an opportunity to make new all-time highs in 2021? No, that would be absolutely silly. Don't do anything like that, right? But here's the next play on silver. If we get above this little bit of resistance that we're at right now, that opens up an opportunity, right? Look for that conquering the markets all day long, that retest of the broken resistance to hold that support, the resumption up, and then looking to go ahead and target that 2020 high. And that's not where I would be exiting that trade because, again, I think that we're going to break above that high and keep going. But you might want to, at that point, take a small piece off. And when I say small, I mean small, like 10% off. But right now, you're waiting. You don't buy into resistance. Price right now is into resistance. If you're not in the trade, you're then being, a lion on the savannah, stalking your prey, waiting and watching. Right now, you know that you want to be focused in on silver, focused in on gold, focused in on commodities, but you need to wait for that next entry to get over there. What's up, David? Great to see you in here this morning. Extend the bottom climbing trend line. I'm not focused on these trend lines right now, personally. Do I think that you should be? Will it offer any type of guide? I'm focused on horizontal support and resistance. It's pretty clear right now. Once we broke out of the bull flag, that's kind of what I went to. You notice that I'm doing the same over here on Bitcoin as we're breaking outside of the last trend line over here. I'm now going to be focused more on horizontal support and resistance. Also on the equity markets, right? Once we broke out, I was focused on these trend lines over here until we hit this big consolidation pattern, right? That, like, think of this as the bull flag on silver right now, but this is a triangle. And once we broke out, I stopped focusing on the trend lines and I'm focused on horizontal support and resistance. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I want to lead you to do. So there we go. Ooh, my kids would be all over that. Ooh, organic hot cocoa tea. That sounds delicious. Yeah, Maria, great to see you this morning. So happy to be back, right? Getting back into this right now. The main thing that I'm seeing here in the markets, in the currency markets, is that I'm waiting for this, it's an event. It's not a risk event, I don't think, but we want to see who wins Georgia, whether it goes red or blue, how the market's reacting, and that's going to give us the next opportunity to start get going. I feel a little bit cold, right? Know thyself. I feel a little bit cold, right? Nice. Let's check it out. Then we'll come back to the peso. So, all right, let me get my bearings first, right? This looks like a lot like the U.S. indexes across the board. It looks a lot like the Dow, right? I could make the observation it looks a little more bullish than the S&P right now, right? But again, the S&P looks quite bullish, right? We said there's no negative events taking place, but the FTSE 100 is consolidating towards the top over there. Look at the Dow over here really quick with me, right? You can see this. Look at this pattern. Get this in your mind. Burn that into your mind real quick, and then come back over to over here. And it looks very similar to me. And that's what we're looking at over here. By the way, this area of support over here, which we kind of just retested right now, a resumption off, right? Is that the entry signal you're looking at? It's a hard one for me, right? Because I don't like buying breakouts. What I would prefer in this over here is actually going on and making those new all-time highs. I would prefer a breakout to new all-time highs, and then I would prefer a retest and a resumption to position into here. But it looks very good. It does, to me, look very similar to the U.S. indexes. And again, as we're seeing, it's not just the Fed who's doing massive amount of QE monthly. We're looking at the ECB as well, and we're looking at all the G10, $315 million a month. It's going into equities, right? I love the coconut. Where can I get the tea from? You know what? I don't even know. Obviously, I'm not going to even pronounce this. I'm looking at matcha Corey. But whatever you buy, Harry, ceremonial grade is the only way to drink matcha, right? Thank you very much for that. I know that I don't say it enough, especially in the afternoon videos. It's an enormous help. Any video that you watch in the afternoon that you smash the like button, those videos do get more views, and I'm grateful for it. All right. What else are we looking at? Oh, I'm sorry, Giles. Thanks for that correction over there. I'm so sorry. I definitely appreciate you setting me straight, Giles, for sure. Let me go back over here, right? So what else can I look at over here? Looking for a little bit more depth. Thank you, Giles, for setting me straight. Thanks for that correction. Definitely appreciate that very much. Nowhere near it, right? Thank you. Yeah, I like this, Peter. The Lion by the Waterhole. I like it. Peter, I like to think of it for sure also as like if you ever watched like any type of nature show on TV, when they're stalking the herd, like they just don't run at the herd and attack. A lot of traders run at the market and they attack. Like they get in front of their screen and then they just buy or sell something, and then they start looking at it to like figure out what they just did and why. And then like they start watching price intently, and then they're like, oh, if only I would have entered here right now, that would have been the right entry. What these predators do is they stalk the herd and they look for one that's kind of separating from the herd, the weak one, right? They look for one that might be a little bit sick, a little bit injured. And then when they find that one, that's when they start intently watching it and stalking it and look and wait for that opportunity to attack. That's how you become a good trader. That is what you need to do. Thank you, King. Appreciate it, brother. Glad I got to catch that comment over there. Right? Yeah. So I have, Michael Seiler on MicroStrategy is anytime you listen to him or watch him, I think that you'll understand Bitcoin better. Especially the Real Vision interview with Raoul Pal, I think is one that's really important. I think if you watch that interview, you'll really understand why Bitcoin above gold, why Bitcoin above real estate, why Bitcoin above dollars is just a necessity. He's fantastic. I think that you should listen to him. And I think that what he's done here, MicroStrategy now has like a big target on them. They are the public company holding the most Bitcoin, right? Now, when I say public company, I don't mean Grayscale. Grayscale aside, but a public company holding Bitcoin as a reserve asset on their balance sheets, they're number one. And eventually, as the race begins, all of these, like, especially these Silicon Valley guys, they have enormous egos. They have like fights over on the 101 with billboards attacking each other. Like, these guys want to be number one. They want to flex. They're going to be trying. There's going to be a race. And guess what? Michael positioned himself in well. He's got an average buy-in of about $15,000. Bitcoin is trading twice that right now. These other guys are going to be playing catch up. Now they have a lot more money, but they're going to be buying a lot higher. All right, what else are we looking at? The semiconductors. Let's take a look at it because I'm interested because I haven't looked at them in forever, right? Interesting. So, and I don't know what to make of it, by the way, at all. And when I say that is, I thought because of what was going on with Huawei that we were seeing like them buying massive amounts of semiconductors as they were afraid they were going to be kind of cut off from any the U.S. market, right? Look, I don't have anything to add over here. It's extraordinarily bullish. I'm bullish on equities in 2021 until we get some technical breaks, right? And although equity markets could be, you can make the case that they're in a bubble, right? Or that the valuations are overextended. But I don't know how anyone values anything today with the this current state of things, with the expansion of the balance sheets we're seeing, with 35% of all dollars being printed in 2020. I don't really know how to value things like that anymore. So I just think that you trade what you see. You just keep doing our normal TA. I think that the 3-day is probably a better advantage trading equities like this, right? On that longer time frame. But, watch what we do on the indexes. Watch what I do on the indexes every day, every afternoon when I'm giving our flow, and then just trade anything within equities around that. What else are we looking at over here? That's right. And they own 1% of the supply, I believe. Is that correct? So BitW should be picking up over here as the alts get going, right? It's a new asset. I have no idea how that NAV is working. Give it some time. But if you're invested in whether it's QBTC, GBTC, BitW, you're invested in those for the whole bull phase over here. And alt season is just beginning here, right? I mean, clearly it began a couple of months ago. You have some lower lows over there in a lot of assets, but alt season, for all intents and purposes, is just beginning over there. So wait that out. Yeah, James, thank you. Giles let me know about that. I said a few times, thank you for setting me straight. Thank you for correcting me on that. James, you're totally correct. I was completely wrong, right? And I appreciate you letting me know for sure. All right, what else is going on? Where are we looking at today? I got to make sure. So it's not coming easy for me, by the way. And some of you may watch my work regularly and be like, wow, it's just very easy for Jordan. It's not easy at all. It's just a matter of work ethic and a matter of putting the time in. And right now, as I'm coming back and starting 2021 after that time off, it's not coming easy at all, which means that I have to work harder. So I'm going to force myself to go over some charts right now and just focus in a little bit less on the conversation, not because I don't want to, but because I need to really work hard right now. All right. So that's what's important over there. Let's check out what's going on by looking at some assets and see what's going on. Like Bitcoin holding that area again. I don't feel like, I still feel very uncertain, as I said this morning, on what happens next on Bitcoin. I would like to see further consolidation over there, but I'm paying attention to the signs, right? So far, holding above this resistance is very bullish. If we go ahead and we start making higher highs over here and break above this new all-time high, I mean, myself and you are going to have to say, wow, this demand here for Bitcoin is absolutely strong. And it looks like the market has proven again that these pullbacks are shallower and lasting for less amount of time than they have in the past. But we'll see. All right. So I'm Bitcoin only. I'm Bitcoin only. Bitcoin only lightly leveraged has been my trade. I was fully positioned in, right around 9,000 and with over 50% of my net worth, right? And then, at 19,000, I went fully positioned and more. So that's where I am on that. But I root for all altcoins, not, for crypto in general, right? If there's anything that I believe that people should be aware of and stay away, I will make it abundantly known, as I have all year to you since this channel was started. Things to watch out for, things to stay away from, things that I blatantly call the scam, right? But aside from that, I think that crypto plays an enormous role going forward in the future. And I think that there are going to be some of these projects, some of these companies that become giants. Just as you saw in the early dot-com era, after the dot-com bubble crash, a lot of those companies that stuck around and made it around went on to be absolute giants. And I think that's what we're looking at in crypto as well. Yeah, and this just brings me back anyway, Richard. Again, a lot of people I see from their comments, like don't understand Bitcoin yet. Do your research. Someone pointed out the Investors Podcast, their Wednesday Bitcoin series. Start with that first episode that was released 3 or 4 weeks ago. Absolutely essential, right? Start with Real Vision's Michael Saylor interview, and you just have to go ahead. Yeah, we could look at Chainlink right now with pleasure. So this looks enormously bullish over here. This one over here, by the way, that 1345, right? Remember, above that is when I'm very bullish on Chainlink technically. We're back above that resistance right now. This opens up an opportunity to get long here. You're getting a buy signal right now on Chainlink. I like it a lot. I don't think that you're targeting 1640. I think we're targeting the all-time high on Chainlink. How long that takes to play out, I don't know. Always use a stop loss. You do know that you're wrong in this trade over here. Right now, you can see that we retested this 1345 broken support resistance as support, resuming off of it, right? If we trade below 1292, you're wrong. Something's going on. You want to be on the sidelines waiting for that clarity to come back in. So as you take this entry, you know where your stop loss is first. You set your position size as far as what you're targeting, right? We have the next big resistance over here at 1648. That's a nice risk reward going right into that trade, but you'd be just looking to take a small piece over here. You're looking to push your trades. I do notice a lot of people who are just staying around break even. There are a lot of traders who stay around break even for months since the summer. They're right around break even. And then when I look at their gains and losses, right? They do respect their max loss, right? Whether it's 0.5% or whatever it is, max risk per trade, they respect it. That's essential, because if you don't, you'll never be a winner. But they take their profits too soon. They have a couple of trades that maybe have close to a 1% gain. A couple. But most of their trades are taking at also 0.5%. You're never going to get ahead like that. You have to push your winners. And the best example I could ever give you, I know that it happened to me many times in my 20 years, especially at the beginning of my career. I would take a trade, right? That trade would go against me a little bit. It wasn't a big trade. I would then just hope it came back towards break even to exit that trade. Why? Because I didn't want to be wrong, right? So what would happen? That trade would just keep going against me. I would keep moving the stop loss. It would go against me more until all of a sudden this one little small trade became an enormous loss, right? That's pushing my losers. If you want to be successful, you have to train yourself to push your winners. It's the exact opposite. You can't push your winners if you're taking profits too soon. That's essential. The correct position size is essential. Correct risk per trade is essential. And pushing your winners are essential. If you can't do those things, you will never, ever be profitable in this game. And it's just a game. That's all it is. All right, what else are we looking at? That's interesting. So I think that I'm sorry, I guess I wanted to get into the charts, but we'll talk about this. This is a great question, by the way, iSpot. It's absolutely very important, and it's, are we ahead of the masses part? Anyone that right now is looking at Bitcoin at $30,000 is extremely early. And I'll be saying the same thing at 50,000, because at 50,000, we're still looking at base case, Jordan's base case, from doing the math and doing the math wrong, right, is looking at a 3x from there, right? So what else could you invest in 2021 that's going to give you better return? But listen, as far as anyone who owns Bitcoin and or crypto, you're way ahead of the masses by a long shot. And then as far as understanding the 4-year cycle, I think that we're at the lead as far as understanding the 4-year cycle when you talk about those within Bitcoin themselves. Don't forget, there are many people who thought like 20,000 was going to be the top. There are many people who think 40,000 is the top on Bitcoin. So yeah, you're way early, ridiculously early. How about that? But we are seeing mainstream talk about Bitcoin a lot now. It's no longer like considered, rat poison. It's not considered a pyramid scheme anymore. People very much, I do believe, understand Bitcoin. If you talk about it to your family or anyone else, they don't think that you're crazy anymore. And as well as, right, there's a ticker for it on CNBC right now. People talk about it regularly. I think Bitcoin has become in 2020 mainstream acceptable, but people think right now they missed Bitcoin, that they should have bought it 2 years earlier, and that they're late, and those people are going to be buying Bitcoin forcibly much higher. All right, so what else are we looking at? I love your tweet thread talking about the key. Yeah, that's the pinned, Nick. If anyone hasn't seen that, that's the pinned thread over there. That's a great one for going ahead and summing up over here the essentials for what we do and how we do it. So great question over here. Do I have complete confidence in BlockFi? So I don't have complete confidence in anything, right, or anyone. And that includes, like, if you're holding Bitcoin in a cold card or a ledger, like, do you have complete confidence that there's no backdoor in that software, that these people aren't playing the long game? I would never have complete confidence. Now, I think those probabilities are extraordinarily low. And I think if something like that were to happen, that would be something that would affect Bitcoin to such a degree that I don't know how easy it would be for it to get back up from. But as far as BlockFi itself, right? As far as BlockFi itself, I have a lot of trust in them, right? I like their security. To do a deposit or withdrawal, they use facial recognition. It takes 7 days to add an address to it. If you whitelist no address, when you add an address, it would take 7 days before a withdrawal could be made to that address. I feel pretty safe and secure about that. I like the fact that they're lending out against collateral, so that they're, by the way, if you look at Bitcoin leaving other exchanges, BlockFi is the only exchange that's growing in their Bitcoin collateral. I think BlockFi is going to be a giant in the future. And yes, I trust them more than I trust my bank. Now, there is risk. Jordan, yesterday I commented on the live stream about my son getting classes about Bitcoin in his 7th grade. Wow. That is absolutely phenomenal to hear, the fact that they're teaching Bitcoin in the 7th grade like that. I wish they taught about money. I wish they taught about money and gave everyone a financial education in class. The fact that they are talking about Bitcoin, that gives me great hope for the future. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And kids get it so easily, right? All of you know, kids who are playing video games like Fortnite, like kids, their status is buying these expensive skins. That's money. They understand that, right? Buying shiny rocks to them, they're like, oh yeah, I collect comic books also, They don't, so, when a lot of people say, like, they don't want to put their hard-earned money into an intangible asset, when you say intangible asset, all that you're doing is kind of like aging yourself. And listen, always look to the youth. The youth is king. Something, even when I was young, I always wanted to keep looking to that next generation. You can't learn if you get stuck where you are, right? You're going to get left behind. You always have to be looking to learn and to grow more. So what else are we looking at? Yeah, I would love, by the way, some type of course to teach hard money, to teach money, to understand money, how money's created, who controls it, to my kids. That's something that I would like to pass on to them, right? So, Jimmy, listen, I would never tell anyone ever, ever, ever that you should take out a loan to buy Bitcoin. It's extraordinarily risky, right? I would never suggest to anyone to do that. Now, I myself have done it, and I told you all when I did it, right? You all remember Bitcoin was trading at like 12, 13,000, and I'm like, yep, I took out a loan and I purchased more Bitcoin. And then I did that again around 16,000, right? 16 or 17,000. I did it twice. I understand my risks. I know what's going on over here. I felt comfortable doing it. I wasn't asking anyone's opinion on about whether or not I should do it because I felt comfortable doing it. I understood my risks and in taking them, right? Now, was 9% a lot to pay for doing that, right? Well, those trades are up more than 100%. So that 9% to me, understanding where Bitcoin was at in its cycle and what we were looking at, to me, that was absolutely, to me, it was cheap money, not expensive money. But for other people and who, it's different. So again, I would never tell anyone that they should borrow money to buy Bitcoin, right? Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. Let's jump over there. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on. I want to sharpen my game over there, right? So, Warrior, CTN is conquering the markets, right? This is conquer trading and investing, conquering the markets. That's like let's call it like the inner circle over here, the intimate group over here. People that are members of the course. That's conquering the markets. It's also this channel, conquer trading and investing. Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, right? Looks very good over here. When I say very good, what I mean is we're in this strong trend over here. Look at this. Since last we broke out above this big resistance, flipped it into support, right? What are we looking at next over here? That's what I'm looking. So you can see this little bit of a bull flag that kind of developed, broke out, retesting it. Look, I don't want to buy something here until I get like a conquering the market setup, right? That's either breaking resistance, pulling back into it, testing as support and resuming above it, or pulling back into support. Look at this where my mouse is. Look at that resistance, that last bit of local support. Like that over there, that's conquering the markets all day long, right? Breakout. Whoop. What's going on? Jordan's off his game. That's okay. I'm going to get back into it, right? Look at this. Breakout, retest, resumption. That's conquering the markets right over here. There's no entry for me over here. Super, super bullish, though. Super bullish. Carl, been lurking around for a while, right? Been lurking on and off this channel for a while. Ready to want to integrate these sessions into my trading. Thanks for the positive energy and patience. Yeah, that's the thing, Carl. Absolutely. There's no without question, what we do here every day is more valuable than anything else you're going to find, any other trading course. What we do every day, this free content that we share, is absolutely more valuable than these courses that cost tens of thousands of dollars. I had someone that purchased a 15,000 Australian dollar course, stop it mid-course, and was like, you know what? I learned way more from the course you basically give away for free. What does it cost? $500 or whatever. Glad to have you here with us, Carl. Is there a lot of money to be made on a Bitcoin channel? Listen, if you're going to start a Bitcoin channel, you better be the best of the best, right? You better be the best of the best because you have some steep competition. You have people who have been doing this for many, many years. And they're on top of their game. They know what they're doing. They offer valuable information. If you could offer valuable information, more valuable information than anyone else, yes, then it'll be good. But as far as financially, YouTube doesn't bring in too much revenue. No, not at all. Unless maybe you're like, anyway. But anyway, you just better be providing extraordinarily valuable content. That's all I could say. And then if you do, you'll have, a big following. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for the part where you said that you're a master at your craft, right? This is my craft. I take it very seriously. And thank you for that. All right, what else are we looking at over here? Game of trades, right? What else are we looking at over here today, fam? And Miguel, by the way, just to build off that though, I absolutely believe that there's no way that I would have the skill set that I do, in all markets if it wasn't for the foreign exchange markets. I absolutely believe that with certainty. And even right now, like for example, if you wanted to focus in on altcoins, right? And anyone who wanted to focus in on altcoins, I would really support that. I would say that you're focused in on a hot market where there's a lot of opportunity. That's a great thing. But I would highly, highly, highly suggest that you're putting your work in, that you understand the market structure and how markets work via the FX markets. That's going to give you the greatest edge for any other market you trade. Yeah. So I have done that. And I have done that recently over the last week with Bitcoin trading, right? What it's trading at right now. And for some people with a lot of money, with serious money, and absolutely. LRC, let's take a look at LRC. Wow. I mean, so either you got it or you missed it, right? So listen, this is something that you take profit into. A move like this is something that you take profit into, especially on altcoins. You take profit into that, and then you wait for this to consolidate. You wait for it to consolidate, and then you wait for it to break out. Now, cryptos have the tendency to break out without always getting in that retest and resumption. So be careful about that. You have to adapt to that very well. But I would not be looking to buy this now. There's no way that would be. Listen, I personally, regardless of what the market is, that type of price action you don't ever buy into, right? You are tripling in a couple of days. If you weren't positioned into, here was a move where you broke out, here was the consolidation, here was the time to get into it. Right now, you have to wait for and it could take a few days here at the earliest, but give it some time. Stay away from that. Don't chase stuff like that. All right? Ever. All right, what else we going at over here? Thank you, Peter. Any comments on the next Bitcoin price target from where we are right now? Great. No. So again, this is the last trend line resistance that I was looking to play in over here. I don't have any JC. So I've adapted to this cycle by saying you're familiar, JC, with 3 ways to trade Bitcoin during the bull market phase, right? I know you are. The video on the Bitcoin playlist that I put out. I have moved myself away from strategy 3. Strategy 3 was taking profits when the market got extended, when price was trading up 150% or more from its last pullback, 30% pullback. And I'm saying to myself, look, the market is showing me different characteristics this cycle. It's showing me so far pullbacks have been less in steepness, maximum 20% so far 3 times now instead of 30%. And they're lasting for a shorter period of time. There's a big demand out there for Bitcoin, and I prefer to stay fully invested no matter what this whole cycle, right? Everyone knows since 19,000, when I looked for that first 30% pullback and it was only 16.5%, and then we retraced it right away. From here on in, I said I'm fully invested and I'm going to stay that way. JC, that's what I'm focused in on. I want to make sure that I walk away from this bull market saying that I squeezed the most juice out of it and that I didn't put myself in a position where the market was getting away from me and I wasn't investing in it. Now, so that's strategy number one, by the way. Now, also, I'm a firm believer in strategy number two in adding at any pullbacks that you can. So I'm focused now on heavily focused on strategy one and two. And that's what I think is the smartest way to play this right now. Thank you, Zachary. Big shout out, brother. Thank you for that very much. All right. So might this be a case where Bitcoin doesn't retest the 15,000? No, I don't see Bitcoin testing 15,000 at all. There's no way. I mean, I would be so surprised. Something's very wrong. We're in a crisis of Bitcoin test 15,000 because you should be looking for a 30% plus pullback at any time. Right now, that takes you back towards this, right towards our magic line over here, right towards 24,000. Now, the last cycle saw a 139% pullback, right? What would that take us into, right? So it doesn't even take us back to look over here. Just look with me. This was the big resistance here that we traded out for about 20 days at 19,000. It took us a while to clear this big resistance at 19,000. And once we did, we started putting the new legs up. So do I think that that Bitcoin ever trades below that? I don't think that Bitcoin ever trades below 19,500 again. You know, is it possible? Yeah. Is it an anomaly if it does? Something's wrong. Could something be wrong that would cause it? Yeah, Bitcoin already broke to the downside over here. This was Bitcoin breaking the model to the downside. That was because of the dollar liquidity crisis that happened. We're not seeing any signs of a dollar liquidity crisis happening right now, but an event could take place that would cause that to happen. The odds of that happening are very small, right? And the odds of Bitcoin breaking to the upside as it broke to the downside over here, that the odds of that are not so small during this cycle. So that's potentially what we could see happen over here. Do I think we're going to enter a Bitcoin super cycle? No. Should you be aware of what that is and how that could happen and why? Very much so, right? So no, I don't think that. You just had a 20% pullback. That's all we've seen so far. Is it possible that we go deeper to 30%? It's possible. That would be 24,000. Are we going to take out this, have more than a 40% pullback? Take out that super strong level over here? I doubt it. So if you're looking for 15,000 Bitcoin, I mean, right now you're at 32,000 Bitcoin. I think that's good cheap Bitcoin. Is the Euro US dollar trading against this long-term resistance right now? Yeah. So the DXY also, let's look at the DXY first. And you can see that the DXY right now is trading over here towards this area over here. This is big resistance on the DXY going back to 2018, right? 88.40. You'll remember when I set that target for us, right? Now, look at that though. And that's also a big area of resistance, right? You all see it? Which means if we take it out, that could be a very negative event for the dollar. And we could see the dollar greatly devalued more. Now, is there anything happen fundamentally in the markets that might cause the dollar to continue to be devalued in 2021? Or has anything changed that would change the trajectory of the dollar to being devalued, right? What is causing the dollar to be devalued right now? Is it perhaps the Federal Reserve's expansion of their balance sheet? Is it perhaps the US Gov taking on more debt? Are these things devaluing the dollar? Do these things have any signal or signs that all of a sudden the Fed is going to start tightening its monetary policy? Will the Fed ever be able to tighten its monetary policy again? No, what the Fed is doing right now is buying time. They're buying as much time as they could buy until they have their digital dollar ready to be released. You know, that's approximately 2023, 2024. Is it possible they are able to move that timeline up because that's their main focus right now? Yes. Are we seeing any type of dollar liquidity problems in the system right now? No. Is the dollar milkshake theory something that you should be aware of and understand? Yes. Could that happen again? Absolutely. This is the dollar milkshake playing out right over here. This is the Fed adding $4.1 trillion to their balance sheet. This is technically where we went short on the dollar over here, we said, oh, maybe we need to look for a counter trend rally. That was quickly smothered and put out. So yeah, the euro US dollar is trading into big resistance right now. But would I buy off of that? Would I sell off that resistance? Let's look at it. Would I be buying the dollar here off this support? No. Let's look at the chart of the euro US dollar. What this was, by the way, this was a great trade this year. A great trade because it happened and unfolding so quickly as we looked forward to, but not one of the best trades all year because there were some phenomenal trades that took place this year. Here's that line on the DXY I was just pointing out to you, that big line over here. Here you can see it on the euro US dollar. I'm going to draw it in over here, get that line on our chart, right? Let's go and put that up right over here. And by the way, is that something reasonable to be targeting? Yeah, we've called that 125. I think back since we were down and trading at $1.19, right? Now, is that still what you should be targeting, right? Is this like a magnet that the market is targeting right now? Does the market want to test it, right? Do a lot of people have stops over here, right? Is the market targeting that? Is it being pulled to it like it sure seems like it, right? Now, that's not something to base any type of investment off of. You have to use what we use over here day in and day out, right? Look at this. Breakout, retest, resumption, right? Bull flag, breakout, retest, resumption, right? That's how you get in and out. But yeah, that's a level for us to watch. I wouldn't sell off that resistance. I don't see anything that says to me that we're going to be seeing any type of dollar strength coming into the market. If, again, we have some type of event that happens over the next 48 hours, right, that brings a little bit of dollar strength, I think that's noise, not signal. I don't think it'll be long lasting. But yeah, that is big resistance. Thanks for pointing out that level to us. That's Hamish. That's a big long-term resistance level. Thanks for pointing that out to us. Thanks, George. That is, I believe, an extraordinarily valuable value. I know it's positioned a lot of people well. I'm grateful for that. Heath, intraday charts. By the way, Heath, right? Big CTM member. Do check out Trade Talk. He's putting out his work on foreign exchange regularly. Also helping out with those who are more intraday minded. Do follow and consult all of Heath's work. Absolutely good stuff over there. It's Trade Talk, right? You could search Trade Talk. Actually, I could pull up the link. You could search Trade Talk Forex, Trade Talk Heath. Let me just pull up that channel for you over there. Oh, Heath is he's like less than 100 members over here from hitting 1,000 subs. Let's get him up to that. Let's push him up to 1,000. You know, that's a good sub. I'm sub to the channel, right? So this is a TJM. I want to focus over here. TJ is saying, given the current steeper trajectory of, but by the way, Heath though. So Heath was saying that intraday ranges are kind of muted right now today. We're stuck in some tight ranges. Pointing out that could be because of non-farm payroll. And I also really think it's because of today's Georgia election. And less so for tomorrow's, I don't think it's the Fed meeting minutes. I think tomorrow's electoral confirmation tomorrow in the Senate is also something that is the market's looking at. Lesser than this, though. Big one right today is Georgia. And I think that's why the markets are also trading sideways over there. TJ was saying about the steeper trajectory of this Bitcoin's bull market, right? Over here. TJ is saying, given the current steeper trajectory of the current Bitcoin bull cycle, right, versus 2017, yeah, TJ, I don't remember when it was. It was not too long ago. It was somewhere in the middle of December when I was like, listen, I'm completely wrong on my, it was $160,000 I worked the math out to be, right? and I said 140 is like our mission accomplished price target, but it was 160,000. It actually worked out the math to me. But I said, look, that is using diminishing returns. When I'm putting something out there to the public on YouTube, I want to make sure that I'm right? So I got to be cautious. Now, I know when I originally put out those numbers, a lot of people thought that was absolutely lunacy and crazy. I don't think that many people think that anymore. I think that people see that, okay, we see what's happening now, right? But I said around mid-December, listen, I'm completely wrong, right? The market is obviously not showing us anything like diminishing returns over here, right? And I said, look, I'm wrong. I want to be right? So now I still have my $140,000 target where if price reaches that, all my personal goals are accomplished, but I won't be exiting price then. I'll be looking at a confluence of factors. One of those will be time, right? If we're taking out $140,000 and it's June or July, obviously I'm pushing much further, right? If we're trading around $140,000, $160,000 towards the end of September, well, I'm going to be watching closely for an exit. But would I be surprised if we trade towards $280,000 and or above this cycle? Absolutely not. Now, so that's my mindset though. I don't need to I don't have those numbers floating around in my head because I don't want to. I don't need to. What I have in my head is my $140,000 target, something that I believe is highly probable, achievable, and that's where my focus in on. And as we get there, depending on where we are, right? I'm an open book. I'll ride the wave as far as I can, as far as it'll take us. But I believe that we absolutely could see 280,000, 320,000. Absolutely, I believe that. Euro, New Zealand dollar. Let's take a look at it. So I imagine that we're seeing the stronger New Zealand dollar. So it looks pretty sweet over there, right? That's a great trade to point. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, Bay. Thanks for bringing that to our attention over here. And what I'm focused in on is right there, right? Do you see that retest? We're at a downtrend. We're at a downtrend. We're looking to sell resistance. This line over here that I have marked as support is we're trading below it. It's resistance now, right? I don't remember the last time I looked at this pair, but over there you could see that we had the breakdown, the retest, and now looking to resume off. Now, the one thing that I would not do is enter at this time of day right now, right? If we got an entry signal for myself, it's not the close of the body, it's the close of the wick, right? And we're getting towards here where we're entering, the London close. I'm not going to buy this right now, enter that trade if we're able in the next 30 minutes to take out that low. That's not something I'm interested in. But that's being in the right place. Maybe not at the right time, but it's not the right time for us, right? I don't consult volume on my charts, but I am aware that I only trade during the heaviest times of volume of the day. That's during the complete London session. So I would not take this trade, but you're absolutely in the right place and looking in the right area. Yeah, I mean, God forbid that people would talk about that, but this is absolutely. JC, she's been a big proponent of outright the Fed buying stocks, right? They're going to do whatever they can to keep this music playing until they're able to make the jump to the digital currencies. Heath's content is fire. So a fractional share, I don't think anything's better than being in, so GPTC, right? I own GPTC. Is Square a good play? We were looking at Square much earlier in 2020, right? PayPal, now that PayPal just started offering Bitcoin, I think that was a good opportunity to get into PayPal. I think that their revenue is going to be increasing quarter over quarter without a question. Square's a tough one. It's priced to perfection already. So I don't really see the opportunity there anymore. Long term, though, probably a good play. That's banking 2.0 in my eyes. Uh, there you go. Heath, the number one most undiscovered YouTube asset for new traders. That's beautiful, South Brooklyn Moto. We got to get him up. We got to get him up today to 1,000 subs. That's a big deal. That's a big milestone, and from there he's going to keep going. So definitely do subscribe over to that channel, Trade Talk. Yeah, I'll send the link again. Hold on one second. Let me pull that up. Boom. Ryan, happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. All right, what else are we looking at today? I'm glad I fought it. Did you see when I was like struggling a little bit? And I'm just glad I stick with it and fought it. You know what? To excel on a high level at anything, that's what it takes. It takes that fortitude. It takes that dedication, right? And if you want to be a successful trader, you have to understand that there's someone out there who's working harder than you. And all that means is that you have to push yourself. You're in the right place. I firmly believe that. What we have over here is absolutely uniquely special. The quality of the content, the community, right? We have Heath offering all of his information. Brandon bringing it on the alts. Alan's work, absolutely priceless, incredible. And not just that, and it doesn't stop there. It's all different elements and aspects. Look how Greg set the mood this morning, right? With be kind and humble, right? Every day, my go-to place right now is definitely Conquering the Markets group. So that's it, everyone. Thank you for smashing. All right, let's look at the fallen wedge. Definitely. So let me pull back to check out a couple of different time frames really quick right now. So, all right. Do you hear, like, this is my number one signal. My tone and my cadence. When something is very clear to me, the tone of my voice is kind of sounds like it is right now. It's very certain. The cadence has a very nice rhythm to it. And when I start kind of like looking at it and I'm unsure and stuttering, that to me is like a clear signal that I want to stay away because it's unclear, right? I'm looking for clarity. I have a much better success. I have much more success taking high probability trades and less trades than I do more being active in the market, right? So over here, what I see developing on Ethereum right now is this consolidation after rightfully so this huge move up, but I don't know which way it's going to ultimately go from here. When I say ultimately, I don't know if we're going to be able to rise out of here or if we're looking for a pullback, towards this 817 level. Why do I have that 817 level? Is that a big one? Let me just focus in on over here really quick. So, by the way, and that 817 was drawn when price was about $300, right? That was the best guesstimate I could put in that area over here. Do you see the top over here and this area over here? I got to go ahead and add that as well right now. I think that's where price just bottomed out. And if so, that will give us a little bit better of a guidance, right? So let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that's market is showing us it's paying more attention to that area over there. Hold on one second. Oh. All right. So I would love to see. I don't have any clarity right here. The author's twins. I don't have any clarity right now on what happens next. And that goes for Bitcoin too. And I said, look, this is one of the first times I'm telling you I don't know what happens next. I genuinely don't. Obviously bullish holding that line over here. The fact that Ethereum put in this move, that was a huge like 30% move, right? And the fact that it's holding, that's bullish. But what I want, do I want to buy here just yet? No. That is, I'm sorry. That's a 60% move. That's insane, right? And it's holding it and it's consolidating well and bullish, but not yet, not for me, right? All right, everyone, let's hit some tunes. Good session. Thanks for being here. Thanks for spending the time. Thanks definitely for all of the support. Enormously grateful for each and every one of you. Yep. All right, everyone. Have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you later and see you tomorrow.